What up, y'all? So attorney Tony Buzbee said him and his law firm are representing about 120 accusers, and we now have information about the first 6. All of these people have stated that Sean Combs has done horrible things to them. Listen, I'm trying to grow my legal page here where I cover all types of cases, so please subscribe if you like these type of videos. Now, I've read through all 6 of these lawsuits. Some of these accusations are crazy, some are unbelievable, some are very believable, but I think they'll have a hard time to prove some of these cases. After reading all of them, only about 2 or 3 I think has a chance of winning because there may be documentation and a paper trail to support their claims or witnesses to back up their story. So let's get into it. We have 6 lawsuits, 4 men, 2 women, and 1 person who was kind of young. All right, John Doe number 1. His incident took place around October 2021, which is pretty recent, and he worked for Royal Reigns Management, a prestigious company based out of New York, LA, and Atlanta. Now, y'all, I did some digging on this Royal Reigns Management company, and I can't find anything at all about this business. I don't know what type of company this is. I wonder if it's an escort service because the lawsuit says he was picked up at the airport, taken to New York City, and then to a Diddy party. Huffy arranged all this, allegedly. He said when he got to the Diddy party, he saw some well-known artists and was immediately offered ecstasy by Diddy's business associates. He said he denied wanting to take it. He said he did have 1 drink and he felt the side effects immediately. He was disoriented, the room started spinning, and he tried to leave the situation. He said he heard a male voice that said, "Hold on, let me help you." And the next thing he remembers is being in a bedroom, not able to move, speak, or fight back. He said he was harmed by multiple men. He said he remembers Diddy being on top of him, and the other 3 men did exactly what you think they did. I don't want to say the words because I don't want to get shadow banned, but they violate him. It's in the lawsuit that he is still going to therapy to help with the situation. Now, therapy is key. If 3 years ago he went to therapy and told the therapist about this situation, the therapist could come testify and say, yes, he told me this years ago before Cassie came out. He may have a solid case. Otherwise, this may be extremely hard to prove. All right, John Doe number 2. He said his incident took place at a white party. The accuser said he was employed by a security firm called Mass Security. In August of 2006, he accepted a last-minute job for Diddy at one of his white parties. He said he got there and Diddy wanted to personally meet all the staffers and workers. He said at the meet and greet, Diddy offered him another job working security, but he declined the job because he didn't want to relocate and his dad was sick. He said Diddy seemed very sympathetic to this issue. As the night went on, Diddy brought him 1 drink, then circled back later and brought him a 2nd drink. The accuser said he eventually started to feel sick and he believed that maybe he had been drinking something that was laced. He said Diddy came by to check on him and he thought he was genuinely concerned, but eventually he pushed him into a van and Diddy harmed him. He said he was screaming for help and Diddy said, "You'll be all right." He said after the incident was over, he was still disoriented, but he immediately left, went home, and called his supervisor. So just like the first guy, can the supervisor come in and testify that he did receive a call that night? Did the supervisor follow up with Diddy? Are there documentation from this incident from the supervisor? All these things need to be prevalent to help prove this case. John Doe number 3. He said he was 16 years old and his incident happened at a white party in 1998. He said he received an invite through a mutual friend and he was excited to attend the party. He thought it would be his big break into the industry to rub shoulders with all these famous people. Now, John Doe number 3 has pictures and proof he did attend the party. So, he said he was on the way to the bathroom and he ran into Sean Combs and he was actually shocked and froze. He said Diddy took a liking to him and wanted to talk to him in private. He said he told Diddy like, "Yo, I want to break into the entertainment industry. I don't really have a good voice though." He said Diddy told him, "Don't worry about it. As long as you have the look, I can make anybody a star." So the accuser said the conversation was flowing and Diddy immediately said, "Hey, drop your pants." The accuser said, "What? Repeat yourself." Diddy said, "Drop your pants. Don't you want to break into the business?" He said he was completely shocked and froze. He said Diddy began to touch him inappropriately and he just stood there and couldn't move in disbelief. He said after Diddy was complete, he told him his people would be in touch. Now, this one may be tough to prove. He did not report it to the police, a therapist. There's no information in this lawsuit that says he told a friend or family member. So I'm not sure how he's going to be able to prove this case. Okay, on to the final male accuser, John Doe number 4. This guy worked for Echo clothing line for almost 7 years. And if you're a little older, you know this clothing line was very popular in the 90s or 2000s. Sean John, Fubu, Echo were all competitors in the urban clothing space. He said in May 2008 at Macy's, he was in a stockroom and Diddy and 3 of his bodyguards came into the stockroom as well. He said as he was walking around the corner, he was hit in the back of the neck by possibly a pew-pew. He said he fell to his knees. He said Diddy walked up to him and said, "Suck my Echo." And he said Diddy unzipped his pants, took out his thing, and harmed the guy in his mouth. He said Diddy said, "You like that, don't you, white boy?" He said Diddy grabbed some of the boxes of Sean John clothing, walked out into Macy's, and began passing out merchandise as the people adored him. He said he immediately ran to security and reported the issue. He said security told him someone would follow up with him, but they never did. Eventually, Macy's said he was no longer allowed to even come into the store. A few weeks after the incident, the CEO of Macy's pressured executives at Echo to fire the man because Diddy had just signed a multi-million-dollar deal with Sean John Clothing and Macy's. So the victim was fired and was told he could no longer live in the company-provided apartment. He said he believes the report was either destroyed, never filed, or just completely removed from Macy's records because nothing never happened after it was reported. Another one that's going to be hard to prove because there's no access to the reports unless the security guard he talked to pops up out of the blue and supports his case. Okay, so those are all the young men. Let's move on to the 2 Jane Does. Jane Doe number 1, in or around June 1995, she attended a promotional party at Elks Plaza in New York City for the music video One More Chance by Biggie Smalls. The event was packed with high-profile guests. While the accuser was dancing with friends, Combs approached her and asked to speak with her privately. Expecting an innocent conversation, she agreed and followed him. Once alone in the bathroom, Combs unexpectedly began kissing her. Feeling uncomfortable and confused, she asked him to slow down, believing that they were there to talk. Instead, Diddy got way more aggressive with her. When she tried to pull away, he hit her in the head and she ended up falling on the floor. She said Combs got on top of her and violated her. After the incident, Combs adjusted his clothing in a nonchalant manner and threatened the plaintiff, saying, "You better not tell anybody about this or you'll disappear." She was terrified for her life. She said she eventually stopped crying, fixed herself, got up, and left the party. She said she never told anybody about this incident. She feared for her life and always suspected that she was in danger. This is another one that's going to be hard to prove. Let's go to Jane Doe number 2. Said her incident with Diddy took place around 2004. She was 19 years old at the time, and she was invited to a photo shoot with Diddy. Her and her friends went to the photo shoot and discovered it was promo material for his group, The Band. She said her and her friends were eventually invited to an after party as well. She said Diddy told her that her and her friends should come to his hotel first before the after party. She said they agreed and was taken to a Marriott hotel by a member of Diddy's team. They got to the hotel. Everything seemed cool. People were drinking and relaxing. She said her and her friend was then grabbed by security and taken to a separate room. She asked, "Where are we going?" And the security guard said, "You know what you're here for." She said when her and her friend got into the room, nobody else was there but Diddy. He gave them some drinks and then tried to get them to do a little snow. She said, "Nah, I don't do that." He started to get more aggressive and started touching both of them, and he then told the friend to get on her knees and take care of him, and that if she didn't do it, he was going to have her unalived. After he finished with the friend, he then got on top of her and violated her. She said it was so bad, she was crying and screaming so loud that the security bust through the door and was like, "Is everybody okay?" The friend was so scared that she ran and left her. The accuser said she could not move because Diddy was laying on top of her. He then got up to go talk to the security and told her to stay put and not to move. He said if she tried to leave that he would unalive her as well. After about an hour, the security told her, "Man, you can go ahead and leave." All right, so this is another one that's going to be tough to prove. She's going to need her friend and the security guard to co-sign this because his team is going to say, "Hey, all of this was consensual." So those are the 6 cases that this lawyer, Tony Buzbee, has filed. He says he has over 100 more. Now, what I will say is if these are the type of cases that he's taking, he may only win like 10 out of 100. But yo, thanks for hanging out with me. Peace.